This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 41.5.
Another one from Brian Deemer.
Welcome to the show. We're glad you're with us here. I'm Brian Deemer.
I am Peter Rios. X-Men.
Firestorm. Superman.
Batman.
Colossus. The Phantom. We got a Geek of the Day.
We can be sexy bitches too.
Fight me, fanboy. How did you first get into comics? This is Comic Geek Speak.
We love them.
ComicGeekSpeak.blogspot.com. It's just so entertaining. Well, welcome to our 41st and a half episode. The reason that we have, by the way, I'm here with Peter. It's just the two of us today.
Hey guys.
We're recording this in the middle of Monday afternoon on, August 1st.
August 1st.
The reason we have to sandwich this episode in between episode 42 is because we already have episode 42 recorded, and then this one kind of came up out of the blue. Well, not out of the blue, but we couldn't control the timing of it. So you get 41 and a half. We have a special episode here. I'm so excited I can hardly stand it. We just conducted an interview with Wizard Entertainment Group Chairman Gareb Shamus. We just did it over the phone, and so now we're going to play it for you next. Yeah. And then Peter and I will come back after the interview to discuss some of that. So here we go. Welcome, Gareb, to our show. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
The first question, we always ask this of every guest, is how did you first get into comic books?
Well, I was certainly as a fan. I grew up collecting sports cards, getting into comics and reading comic books. I have three brothers, so we kind of grew up into all these hobbies. Our local sports card store carried comic books, so we'd pick up comic books there. And then all of a sudden, I really started getting into comic books and enjoying that. And ultimately, when I got into college, my parents had opened up a comic book and sports card store, and so I got a lot of free comic books up at college from my parents. So that's when I really got into comics in a bigger way.
That's a good deal, getting free comics.
Oh, it's always a great deal, and my friends loved me because they didn't have to pay for them either.
Yeah, that's great. Of course, now it's come full circle, right? And you're in the position once again to get free comics.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. How I, in my life, never paid for comic books.
So what motivated you to start Wizard Magazine?
Well, when I was up at college, I worked for the school newspaper selling advertising, and we were nonprofit and made a lot of money, and I made a lot of money for the school newspaper. So we spent all the money going completely desktop on the Macs when they first came out on the publishing side. So I got to be an expert on the Mac in the publishing world, in its very, very early infancy days. So when I graduated, I really wanted to do something in the publishing world. The other thing was, even though I was getting all the comic books up at school, I really had no idea what was going on in the industry. I had no idea what creators or writers were going to be working on what books, what was going on. So I knew the stories, but I didn't know what was happening in the industry. So that's when I really hit me that, I need something out there to tell me what's happening and what these creators look like, what's happening behind the scenes. And there was really nothing out there like that. So I kind of put together the combination of the whole publishing thing that I enjoy, plus the whole comic book industry, and put that together to create Wizard.
Great. Over the years, since the birth of Wizard and the maturation of the Internet, how has the readily available news on the Internet changed the way that you construct and publish your magazine, and I guess as far as the articles that you select and things of that nature?
Well, what's happened throughout time, because I was a fairly young guy getting into this world, and also, I started out in the computer world, I've always tried to embrace whatever new media were around. So, as desktop publishing evolved on the computer, I was there way ahead of the people that were doing it with wax machines of that nature. I was doing things in Photoshop and all the publishing programs way before most people were. So especially when it comes to new technologies, we try to create a product that's appropriate for every media. So we try to do things that's appropriate for the magazine that may not be the best or easiest thing that you could do in a convention setting. We do things online that you might not be able to do in the magazine or the convention area. So what we try to do is break down each media to what works best for that. So when you take a look at the magazine, it's very important that we produce a product that people care for, that they look forward to every month, to get information that they're not going to get that's readily available in other places, and to break down information that might exist in individual forms, but not collectively, so that you can get a whole picture of what's going on. So that's really where the magazine has, kind of altered and changed, so that to make sure that, we're constantly, getting information and access to people that they would not normally get otherwise. Because we are Wizard and we have ability to get on the scene, on the set of a movie, or on the set of a TV show, or go behind the scenes of a video game or an action figure, we can get that information much more easily than somebody else that might just be able to post this information or rumor or speculation online. Also, we don't have to print speculation or rumor. We can go right to the source. We speak to a lot of these people all the time. So we really have the ability to publish facts and not fiction. And then the other thing is, as far as the online is concerned, we've been able to take that media as well. So in instances where we do photo shoots where we have a lot of extra photos, or we might ask, 50 questions, but it could only put 25 in the magazine. We get a lot of material that we have access to that can't fit in the magazine that we can put online to tease people about the magazine, and also to get people to go to the website. The other thing is that there's a lot of last-minute information because of the timeliness of magazines and the time frame that it takes to publish them. There's a lot of information that's out there, which has to be, which is out there early, or that we can publish early. So, we use the web very effectively to get that information across to people.
I see. That all makes sense. You mentioned that because you're Wizard, and because you have now established yourself as a big name in the industry, that you can get the inside scoops and everything. When you were still in your early stages, as you made that transition from being the new guy on the block to the respected elder, how exciting was that for you as a one-time fanboy and now an industry professional to say, oh my gosh, you're actually going to give me an interview?
Right. Well, it actually, it never really happens that way. It happens as an evolutionary process over time. So, you start out, working very, very hard to get some access in a very specific or particular place. So it could be a comic book company, it could be a video game company, it could be a movie studio. So it's really more of a series of a lot of smaller events that culminate into what is now a lot of larger events. So it's really a lot of smaller victories throughout time, which is, all of a sudden you get onto one movie set, and then that movie set helps you get onto another movie set, and so on, and then all of a sudden you're invited to every movie set. So it's not as if you're all of a sudden one day the switch goes on, and now you're invited everywhere, every place. You have to earn that respect, and you have to earn that opportunity. But also at the end of the day, we reach a lot of people. We reach millions and millions of people every month. So, we also provide an incredible value for these companies, to speak directly to their audience. So, whereas, when I started out, it was more difficult to get to these people. As we've been able to establish over time this incredible, opportunity where people that we reach spend a lot of money. They really do influence a lot of things that go on out there. We've had, it works very, very well now to work, with the companies, instead of just them, offering interviews or we telling them that they could do something with us. It's really working together to figure out what's the best way to launch information or launch a new product. So it's really, we're working very closely with the companies actually on the very early side, on promoting that.
That's cool. We're now right in the swing of the summer convention season. In fact, you've got Wizard World Chicago coming up in just a few days. So we wanted to ask, What is your favorite thing about a comic book convention? What do you look forward to the most when you're not bogged down in the details of organizing the event, but as a fan, what's your favorite aspect of a convention?
My favorite aspect is really the energy of the room. It's really an incredible thing when you come to one of our events that you feel so much excitement, so much passion, so much energy in that room that everybody that's there is excited to be there. Everybody has gotten out of their house, out of their job, out of their whatever they were doing to come to our event and have a good time and look and buy and enjoy the things that they enjoy. And that's the thing that's most attractive to me. It's really the opportunity that we can provide what we do in a live event setting. So we do this every month. We're talking to these companies. We're going behind the scenes. We're involved in everything that we do. And now all of a sudden, we have an opportunity to bring that to life for other people. That they can not only now just read it, they can actually experience it and enjoy it. And that to me is the best feeling, is to go to a place and know that, you know what, there's a lot of people out there that started out just like me, that were big fans of the product, that can now go out there and enjoy it in a live format.
Wizard World Chicago, is your biggest convention? Is that correct?
That's our biggest convention. Yep.
We're here towards Philadelphia, and we'd really appreciate if you could, kind of make Philly your biggest one from now on. That would really make us happy out here.
They're trying. I mean, if actually LA might be a little different, but Philadelphia, because of its proximity to New York and Baltimore, it really, from a strategic location, it's got access to more people than any other event that we do. So it certainly has the capability of being our biggest show. And we certainly support it. We love the center. And it's certainly easy for us to get to being in New York. So we love Philly.
All right, good. That'll make all the Philly listeners happy.
Well, also, you got to understand, Chicago was around almost 25 years before we took. I think it was a little over 20 years old when we took it over. So it did have a lot of history going for it. I mean, now I think we're closing in on 30 years, in terms of the history of the show. Philadelphia only has, 4 or 5 year history. So it does take time to build a lot of momentum.
Sure. To go back to your own personal likes, what are some of your favorite comic creators, either historically or currently working today?
I'm a big fan of Jim Lee, Mike Turner, John Cassidy. From an art standpoint, Simon Bisley, even though he doesn't do too much stuff. Phil Noto, Bill Sienkiewicz. Frank Miller. The list goes on and on. I'm such a fan of creators. That's why I collect a lot of artwork. That's the thing that I like the most. I just find that these people are pound for pound, they're some of the most talented creators and illustrators and artists in the world. I put their artwork up against anything else that I've seen. And these guys are just as much, if not more talented than all the artwork that I see out there. So I'm just a huge fan of the work. And then certainly on the creative side, on the writer side, there's a lot of fans. I have a lot of favorites out there too.
Okay, our next question is, where do you see the comics industry going as a whole? How do you see it staying alive with the ever-increasing cost of comics and comics seemingly geared more towards mature readers as opposed to little kids? How do you see it staying alive in the next several decades?
Well, there's a number of questions there, so I'll try to answer it in some order here. First of all, comics are not going away. When people, said, the advent of television is going to kill theater and it's going to kill live events, as a matter of fact, it just makes it stronger. With the advent of, comics are going to go on the web and the paper's going to disappear, comics haven't been stronger since the internet even started. So the reality is that comics are not going away. Comics actually have had even more appeal, especially since people are starting to recognize that it's an incredible source material for other media, whether that's movies, television, video games, toy lines. So what that's doing is that's putting even more dollars into the comic book market for the opportunity to develop something that could turn into a much bigger franchise, especially now that the movies are being made. And then as far as the type of material, actually the industry, comic industry, has gone through a change very similar to the video game industry and a number of other industries, where the demographic that would typically grow up and then stop playing video games or read comic books or play with toys has now gotten older, and they haven't stopped doing those things. So the video game world, the toy world, the comic world has had to adapt and continue to publish material that's appealing to a demographic that keeps getting older and older. But what's also happening is the publishers are increasingly doing more material for younger kids. And then also the material for younger kids is actually changing. So what you're seeing is, the Marvels and the DC putting out material for younger kids. DC with the Hanna-Barbera stuff. They have a lot of stuff on television, whether it's Teen Titans and Justice League and Batman and Superman. So, and the same thing with Marvel. They've done a lot of licensing deals that have created a lot of publishing material for younger kids. That I don't know if you've seen it, but they have millions and millions of these types of products hitting in the mass markets for younger kids. And the other thing that's happening is, as far as price points are concerned, the actual average price point is really not that much different than it has been in a long time. What you might be seeing is that more people are buying graphic novels, which do have a higher price point, but the package is different. You might be getting anywhere from 3 to 10 comics all under one banner. The other thing that's happening, too, is that the type of material is diversifying. So whereas before you used to just get superhero material or just, a couple of independent works, now you're getting a lot of material that's very, very diverse. And on top of that, you're also getting material like manga out there, which also appeals to more female readers, more younger readers. So, when you really think about the amount of comic-type material that's getting out there and has shelf space in the mass market, it's actually increased dramatically. So there's really a lot of opportunities out there, and it's going to continue to grow.
What are Wizards' convention plans for the future?
Basically, we're working towards, we have 5 events this year. We're going to have 5 events next year, and we're working right now on towards an event in Atlanta in 2007. There is no Atlanta 2006 to in. No, there will not be a show from us in Atlanta in 2006.
Okay. Well, that is more or less all of the questions that we had for you today.
Right.
We really appreciate your time, taking the time to have this interview with us.
Thank you very much. And if you could tell me where you're going to publish this, I can download it to my iPod and listen to it myself.
Oh, well, we regularly publish all of our podcasts at it's comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That should solve that. You heard it right from the man himself.
Mm-hmm.
So that should answer all your questions.
That was cool.
Yeah. So he certainly knew his stuff, didn't he?
He does. I mean, he's right on top of his game.
Every question I asked, he did not hesitate for a heartbeat to come back with an answer. And his answers about, where is the industry going to go over the next several decades, and some of that we actually discussed in a future podcast that hasn't been heard yet. But he seemed to really, have his ducks in a row on that and have some ideas about where things are going to go. And he doesn't seem worried about the industry at all. A lot of people seem to think the end is nigh, but I mean, he's correct with the movies and the toys and everything. There's a whole other generation that's growing up on this stuff.
Exactly.
And by the time they're 13, they'll probably be buying comics too, and the cycle will just repeat itself, I guess.
Yep. Great.
That's cool. I'd love to see his personal artwork collection too. You can only imagine with all the connections he's got and everything. Man, he must have some really nice pieces.
He needs to open a museum. The
Yeah.
Gareb Shamus Museum.
Turn his apartment into a museum.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever.
Frank Rosetta's place has a little
God.
place.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Great.
That was a nice interview to add to our pile of interviews. Our small. It's not really a pile. It's kind of like a little stack. Maybe a little.
A short box
That's right.
of
Yeah.
interviews.
Yes. We have not graduated to a long box yet. Cool. Anything
Great.
else to add to that, Peter?
No, I think that's everything we need, right?
I think so.
Good.
So I guess we'll save our usual litany of things at the
Yeah,
end.
for the normal
This is an
episodes.
abridged one. I mean, bottom line is if you want us, you can reach us at comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and you can find our blog at comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com. And I guess until Thursday.
Next episode.
If you're listening, actually August 1st or August 2nd, Thursday, yeah, we'll have episode 42 for you.
Yeah, and those of you going out to Wizard World Chicago, have fun.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a good show out there. I was there once, and it was a very good show. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.